Today, I'm going to walk us through how we go about doing what we call a 5-minute study sketch. So, in my visual journal, I will go to the second half of my sketchbook. So, not the notes part, but the place where we're doing our practice drawings. I am going to have a timer. For me, I have it on an iPad, but you could use your phone for this. Even if you're using your phone to look at the artwork, you can still have a timer running in the background. And then I printed off a version of my artwork. If you prefer just to have it on your phone and look at it there, that's fine. Or look at it on your computer screen, that's fine. Or on any kind of device, that's fine. You can also print it. It makes it a little easier if it is already black and white, because obviously when you're using a pencil, black and white, and the pencil is gray, so it's easier to kind of see what you need to draw if it is black and white. However, whatever method works for you, that's totally fine. So the idea is that you will draw and study this image for a full 5 minutes. You will spend the time kind of looking at what you're seeing and kind of starting this image, and then continuing to add details for the whole time. So first thing you want to do is set up your timer. So I've found the timer feature in my iPad, and I set it for 5 minutes. There we go, 5 minutes. And so I'm going to click start, and then I'm going to pick up my pencil and I'm going to start drawing. The main thing that I want to kind of do when you start drawing is I want to look at the kind of the big things first. So I'm going to notice, okay, so the general shape of this skull is a circle. So I'm going to start kind of with a circle, and then he's looking at a lady, and her head is also a circle, but it's a little bit down. I'm actually going to draw it maybe down here. And then there's their arms are going off this way, and it's down a little bit. So I'm going to kind of add that in there. And let's see, there's kind of a connecting line with his shoulder. You see that? And his neck. So neck coming down, her neck comes down to meet her shoulder, and it's there. So then from here I can start adding some of the other details that I'm seeing, like her clothing and the front of her neck and her other arm. Mr. Skeleton. Mr. Skeleton's face here. He's got a nose. Even though he's a skeleton, that's a little odd. And this has a very distinct style. It's got kind of an angular thing going on here. The main thing with this sketch is that you are just being light and quick with your pencil, noticing details, but at first you're just kind of getting those big shapes in there. So notice that I haven't started going in and adding a lot of facial details. Right now I'm just working on getting some of the, kind of have her face in the wrong spot, don't I? Have to fix some of that. And that's one of the beauties of kind of working this way, where you're just doing a little at a time. And her hair is like really big, so it's like down this way. You get to kind of adjust or change things as you go. So I'm actually going to move her kind of whole head back a little bit. So if you need to erase, feel free to do that, but don't erase everything. Just erase a little bit at a time, and shift things as you need to. So Mr. Skeleton here, he's got a bow tie and a neck thing going on. He's got his kind of big shoulders, and it kind of goes out here, and their hands are off this way. So I'm not worried about it being perfect or beautiful. Certainly, I'm just worrying about looking and seeing what I can see for details. At some point you'll decide, okay, I have the big picture, and I'm ready to start going in and adding some of those different kinds of details. So you decide when that is. This is kind of your drawing and what you decide to start noticing. He's got like this lovely little mustache here. It's got a curl. That's nice. So the more details you can see and notice, the more interesting your image is going to become. And that is kind of one of the beauties of these 5-minute sketches. You're just spending 5 minutes looking at and exploring and kind of getting a sense for what does this art look like and what is kind of the artistic style of the image. What are you noticing that's really interesting, and what are you kind of seeing maybe thematically, or maybe in another sense, what's the interesting things that are going on with these images. So that's kind of the process for how you start a 5-minute sketch, and you just keep your hand moving until that timer goes off. So keep going back and seeing what else you can see and notice, because the longer you work, the more you add, the more interesting and the more accurate it will be. And the more you will kind of notice some other things. So as I'm working, I'm noticing, oh, there's a lot of angles in this image. It's not smooth, soft lines like I was first doing. They're pretty sharp and dramatic. And that is this particular artist's style. It's very kind of sharp and dramatic. And a lot of Mexican art kind of shares that idea. So lots of drama. So I will stop my recording, but you would go until your 5 minutes are done. I hope this gives you kind of a good idea of how do you start.